Yo guys, welcome back to another video on the channel, and today I'm going to be giving my brutally honest thoughts on EAFC 24 from what we know so far. Quickly before we do get into it, if you aren't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel, notifications, turn on to any more videos on the channel. If you do enjoy it, smash thumbs up and read your thoughts on this in the comments below. So I'm straight into it right now. Okay guys, so the first thing that I want to go over is one of the things that I'm not too happy about. I don't really like this change, and it's the new pack system. Obviously we've got some cool new systems within the pack, like we've got the double walkout. As we saw in one of the trailer clips, you can pack Mbappe and Haaland, for example, at the same time, and they'll both walk out together, so you can get two walkouts in one pack and they're both going to walk out at the same time, which is a pretty cool addition. You know, it sort of gives you a better idea of how good this pack's going to be. If you see a 91 rated card walk out and then you see like Haaland behind them or someone like that, or Modric or someone to come out with them, you sort of understand, right, okay, I've got a decent pack here, I've got two walkouts, there could still be more stuff decent in here. But the biggest problem for me is the fact that you can actually now repack players in a pack. So what I mean by this is, if Haaland, for example, has a team of the week on the first couple of weeks, even though his team of the week's in pack, you can still pack his regular card. So the problem with this, again, that I think is, obviously his gold card's going to have a higher pack weight or a higher chance of being packed than his inform. So is his normal card just going to pop up way more often than his inform, even though he's inform and in team of the week and he's only there for a week? I'm not too sure. There's some people out there that will probably end up only packing his normal version. There'll probably be a couple people that pack his normal version multiple times during a team of the week and don't land his team of the week. There'll be people that open one or two packs that manage to land his team of the week, and there'll be some people that are lucky enough to go out and pack his inform and his normal card in the exact same pack. And of course, now the women players are in packs as well, so it's going to give us a whole new variety of packs. I like this because it also means you're also not going to end up with a load of duplicates. If you're someone that opens a lot of packs and stores a lot of stuff in the pack, there's going to be a higher chance of you actually getting a new player rather than just getting more and more duplicates that you're putting into SBCs that you're trying to sell or quick sell or anything like that. So it's going to give us a little bit more to get out of the packs. But the next thing, guys, is going to be rage quitting in the game. As we know, rage quitting can be one of the most annoying things. Sometimes it even breaks the game for certain points throughout the game. If you've ever been playing foot champs, you know there would have been times where people are rage quitting and they manage to just break your game, so your game freezes and you end up getting a loss as well as they do. But this year I was really hoping they were going to make some changes to when people are, when the game is 0-0, 1-1, whatever it might be. If it's a draw, I was really hoping they might make a change to the fact that if people leave at that sort of scenario, then you would actually be given a win. Because at this point, if they leave the game at 0-0 or 1-1, they get the loss, right? That's expected. They should lose the game because they left the game. But for you, you get nothing out of it. It just goes down as a game that you've played on your players' records. You don't get a win. You don't get a loss. The game doesn't come off of your foot champs games or anything like that. You just literally have wasted all of that time loading into a game. If they left it 0-0, okay, it wasn't too much of a long wait. But if you're playing someone that really just doesn't want to see you win, and let's say, for example, they go 1 or 2 goals up and then you manage to pull it back right towards the end of the game to 1-1 or 2-2, they just pause the game and they'll leave. They'll just waste 10 to 12 minutes of your time. They'll fully just waste that entire game. They don't care. They're going to go ahead and take the loss, and you are literally going to get nothing from that game whatsoever. So I was really hoping they was going to see a fix to this, but they just haven't seemed to have said anything on it. As far as we're aware, they haven't changed it, and it's going to be exactly the same this year. Next up is the gameplay, and the gameplay I was really hoping they were going to make, again, a few changes to, because as we know, it's just not a consistent game. FIFA 23 was just not a consistent game whatsoever. There was no consistency in it. You could jump on a Friday night to play your foot champs games and FIFA felt amazing. You were playing some great football. The game felt playable. It felt responsive. It felt fast. And then you get on Saturday or Sunday, especially. Sunday was the worst for this. You get on a Sunday and the game just feels sluggish. The ball just doesn't seem to move. Your players feel heavy. They can't turn. No one can take a good touch. Passes aren't going where you're trying to pass them. And it was just a horrible experience. Like, I just refused to play on Sundays throughout this entire year after the first week or two. I just didn't want to do it because it was just horrible, horrible gameplay. I made sure my foot champs were done by Friday or Saturday, meaning I didn't have to touch the game on FIFA. And this is something they need to fix. Okay, they might have fixed it. This might be a thing that they've fixed and they just haven't said anything about, because they've never really addressed the situation on the game being unplayable on Sunday, or, you know, just feeling different throughout different days of the week. They've never said anything on it, so hopefully we just get this new game on the new hyper motion technology stuff, and the game just plays consistently every single day. It doesn't matter if you get on a Monday, a Wednesday, a Thursday, a Friday, a Saturday. Doesn't matter what day you get on, the game just feels consistent. It feels the same, it plays the same, and you guys can actually start, you know, learning the game a bit more. It's difficult to learn a game when it changes how it plays every other day. It changes between game modes. Drafts plays differently to Div Rivals, which plays differently to Foot Champs. So hopefully this year we just see a lot more consistency around the game, and it becomes much easier to play and actually learn the game, and just overall become a much more fun experience. Next up, I'm going to be talking about the new edition of play styles, or player styles, whatever they're called. They're nothing new, but they're really not. Alright, so some people have got an outside of the foot play style, or an early cross play style. These are just traits that we've had within the game for the last however many years now. Like, these are things that have been in the game. They don't really ever affect the game. They're going to be certain scenarios where, okay, that player is better for a scenario. Like, for example, this year, the outside of the foot shot was broken. So you were trying to use players with outside of the foot shot trait, which was useful. Okay, great. But play styles, I'm sure they're going to be useful, and I'm sure they will be good. But I just don't see them being any different to how traits work. Like, there's only going to be certain very niche scenarios within a game where someone's play style is gonna, you know, make them a better player than someone else in that position. Like, just like traits where, like I said, you might have someone that's got like long shot trait, or, you know, something like that, where okay, there's certain scenarios within the game where it works, but it doesn't make that big of a difference to the game overall. I'm still interested to see how playstyles do work. They might be a bit different to traits. They might have more of a key impact. They might actually be a lot more efficient and work much better than traits. I'm not too sure, so I will have to wait and see how that does play out in game. And the final negative that I want to be talking about, guys, is foot moments. And the reason for this is foot moments, when it first got announced, had so much hype around it. I was super excited to try it because they said we were able to try moments from the latest games, the Premier League weekend highlights and stuff like that. We'll be able to recreate certain scenarios, certain goals, free kicks, penalties, just certain things like that. And that just never happened. We never saw that. We never saw, right, okay, Haaland scored a absolute worldie of a bicycle kick this weekend, for example. There was never at any point did we go in and we had to use Haaland up front, and then we whipped the ball in from across, and then we have to score a bicycle kick with Haaland. We never saw that. All it became was player stories, and it just sort of became like, you get this lone player, you use these lone player through the foot moments, and the foot moments were like, you score 1 goal and make 10 passes, but you've got to complete an entire half of FIFA. So it went from being like 1 to 2 minute little things where you could jump in, bang, I'm gonna smash this one out, do that one, that one, that one, which was the whole idea of foot moments. It was for those people that can't get on every single day and play a whole game or play for a long time. It just gave them a little chance to get in, play a little of these foot moments, play 1 or 2 of them, earn some stars, and open some rewards. However, it just never became like that. It just started becoming, you're going to be playing full halves of FIFA. You're going to go ahead and play a 45-minute half, you're going to score 1 goal, you're going to make sure you win the game, and you just use a certain player for it. So hopefully this year, even though they've not said much about foot moments, hopefully this year foot moments just does become much better. So what I've spoken about so far felt pretty negative, and these are just the things that I've felt, and, you know, I've seen a lot of people talking about on Twitter and things like that. So I thought I'd go over them. But then the positives that I want to talk about, guys, is there is no more position modifiers. We don't have position modifiers in the game anymore, which is great. If you guys are playing a draft, and if you knew you were playing draft last year, it was the most frustrating thing. You could not have a left winger at left mid. You couldn't have a left mid at left wing. You couldn't have a left wing back at left back, because they just wouldn't get chemistry. Whereas now, if you make a draft and you put them into their positions where, you know, as long as they've got that alternative position, they can play there. They'll get full chemistry as long as, you know, they've got the links from everyone else. And this is a great addition. I love this work. I love how this works. I can now start putting players into my team. I can change the team around a lot more. I haven't got to worry about running out of position modifier cards or anything like that. So that's a big W in my opinion. Women in the game will add a whole new dynamic to the game. I'm super excited for this because I think they're going to add a whole new different play style into the game. I think they're going to play slightly differently to the men. They're going to have certain traits that the men don't have. I think because a lot of them are a little bit smaller, from what I've heard from people that got the beta. A lot of them seem to be a lot smaller, but they seem to have much better agility. They seem to be very nippy players. They can get in and out of tight spaces. They can turn people really quick. So I'm really excited to see how the women do bring a different dynamic to this game. They also add in evolutions, and I'm excited for this. I'm super excited for this evolutions and how it works. I'm not too sure if it's going to be when we get one player throughout the entire year that we can evolve into a better player, or if we're going to get different scenarios throughout the entire year where we can take loads of different players, take their base cards and upgrade them to a much better card by the time the end of their objectives is finished. But I'm super excited for evolutions, just to make some of my favorite players in real life that might not have the highest rated cards in game be able to actually use them as make them into a usable card that I can use throughout the entire game. I can go ahead and use someone like Jarrod Bowen, for example. As a West Ham fan, I'd love to be able to use Jarrod Bowen, take him from his base card and get him up to like an 85, an 86, an 87 rated card, and go and use him and him actually be very competitive with some of the meta players within this game. There's also a claim all for objectives, which I think is amazing. That's something that we've needed for a long time. I'm fed up of getting like 20-25 objectives completed at a time from going through, and you know, you just get on for the first time, you complete daily rewards, daily logins, you then go and score 4 goals, you get an assist, whatever it is, and you end up coming out of the game, you've got 20 rewards to claim, and you just have to sit there one by one going through it. It takes so long, whereas now we can press one button and claim everything at once, which is an absolute W. We've also got a new menu system, a new UI system, and it's going to make getting through the game so much smoother, much easier transformation, so we can go from squad straight to the transfer market to the store, and it's going to be seamless. It should be so much better than it has been recently, much easier to navigate and just get around the game much faster. They've also taken loan options out of SBCs, so when you're building an SBC, if you're like me, I have an abundance of loan players. I don't know why I keep them all, I just decided I was keeping them all, and yeah, you put them into SBCs or use a squad builder to build an SBC, and it just gets filled with loan cards, or you're trying to find your players that you've got in between all these loans, and you miss a couple of players because there's just loans everywhere. You don't actually see your card. They've taken the loan option out of SBCs, so you shouldn't see them at all, which is going to make completing SBCs much easier. Squad battles game time has been reduced. I believe it has gone from 4 or 5 minute halves down to 3 minute halves, so you can get through a game of squad battles within 6 minutes, which is going to be great because the objectives you can do with squad battles are going to be done much faster. You can get decent rewards from squad battles, and I think it's going to make squad battles actually much more worth playing and much more worth your time now. And the final thing is, guys, you can now equip your kits and badges if you pack them from a pack. You haven't got to store them to the club. Go to the club, go through all the kits and badges that you've got in your club, and then try and equip it from there. If you pack one, you can literally go onto it on the pack, equip it from there, and that's how you guys are going to be doing it. But that, guys, is going to be the end of today's video. If you have enjoyed it, be sure to smash thumbs up and let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comments below. If you're not already subscribed with notifications turned on, make sure you go and do that, and I'll catch you in the next one in a bit.